Joining us and welcome. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about AI and some digital delegation topics. It's kind of funny doing a hand curated and delivered podcast or presentation on AI. Sort of a bit of a twist, right? AI should be delivering the presentation on AI, but we're not quite there yet. So for now, you'll have to kind of suffer with me as it relates to learning a little bit about this topic, learning how it's already sort of impacting and influencing the way we do some things, and as well as hopefully some insightful perspectives. I've been thinking about this all week as I prepared, and have a few kind of corollaries that I'm thinking about that might be helpful as you think about how this fits into your organization, into your own productivity and sort of work approach to work. And so hopefully you find this useful. We'll talk a little bit and focus mainly on Microsoft 365. Some different spots where these things are already popping up, right? Where we are already seeing the integration come to fruition, give you some that you can use. Talk specifically a bit, obviously knowing Apex. We love to talk about Teams and meetings and video and voice. And so I'll talk a bit about Teams Premium and how to take the next step with us. I ensured with our marketing team that old school GIFs render and play in PowerPoint presentations. So my friend Clippy is down there from Microsoft back in the day, my time at Microsoft a little bit. And that was kind of the first piece I wanted to offer before we even get into it, which is, in the early days of cloud, we had a separate sort of business for cloud. We had a separate product team that would work on, say, database in the cloud versus SQL Server that went in your data center. Or we had, the BPOS team, the Business Productivity Online Suite, sort of hosted mail team and had purchased Hotmail. And then the Exchange on-prem team was over here, probably literally and legit in a different building on campus. What we've already seen with artificial intelligence, machine learning, is it's already gone through that phase. So we've gone from, hey, I go over here to do my artificial intelligence work, my machine learning work, to it's a feature that's baked into the things I use, right? Pretty rapidly in the cloud era, Microsoft and the rest of the world morphed from, hey, this isn't something different. This is a core feature to the applications, to the platforms you want to use. And so now, when it comes to M365, all of these things are integrated. The Outlook on your desktop team, the Outlook in the web, how the backend mail works. It's all sort of one platform, even though there are some different footprints to it. And I think we're already evolving in that direction when it comes to some of the advanced AI and machine learning and Copilot kinds of things being integrated as features. ChatGPT and some of the other sort of direct access tools are already being integrated, whether it's our friends at Microsoft or whether it's Google or whether it's Adobe or ServiceNow. They're taking and saying, hey, how do we bring that into the product itself? And so, we spend a lot of time, being the partner that we are with the customers that we have, talking about the Microsoft platform, and M365 is doing those same things already, bringing it into the platform, allowing you to integrate that experience with the platform you already know, that's saving you money, that's delivering the productivity that you need, that's delivering the security. I have a couple of specific examples of some things in the security space that are already happening. And so, we're already using a platform that's seeing these things integrated in. For a lot of our customers, whether it's business premium or if you're a bit larger, the enterprise set of SKUs, E3 and E5, is delivering all of those capabilities into a single platform. We're working with some great customers right now where, their investment in business premium, their investment in E5 across the organization is basically funded by turning off sort of parallel work streams, right? What security tools are we buying and supporting and paying annualized costs on separately that we can roll into our Microsoft platform, right? We're on E3, we're going to head to E5, we're on business standard, and we're going to roll to premium. And so these things are built in to the platform. And with some of these examples, there are already things that they're helping us internally at Apex. I have a few favorites. My team knows that I find meetings particularly onerous unless they are delivering the right amount of value. And so I'm pretty laser focused with my team, trying to ensure that we're spending our time as wisely as possible, servicing our customers being priority number one. And every minute that I have someone in a meeting, or I have 5 people or 20 people in a meeting, that's a minute we're not doing other things. And so some of these things are very much top of mind for me when it comes to driving our ability to do. If you think back to last week or our previous episode, OKRs, right? Objectives and key results. There's a couple of things on that sheet for Apex, and, they don't necessarily involve a lot of internal meetings or arguing about topics internally, rather than helping our customers and driving the business forward and improving satisfaction and being innovative. And in the case of my world, finding new partners for us to go to market with and things like that. And so there's a number of these that I'm pretty keen on. And so we'll just use some examples of, kind of what happens in a day. Small business, big business. I'm sure many of these things we can relate to. And we'll kind of talk through how that LLM, that large language model, is already integrating into our lives, right? There's a bit of a generation gap. I see the younger people on my extended team really engaging with the tools much quicker than probably I'm picking them up. But it's something that I think Microsoft has a good take on, which is, how do I bring it into the normal workflow? Again, like we talked about, not have a separate business unit for cloud. Let's have it be a part of our business. Same here, to say, I don't want to swivel in my chair and use some separate tool. I want to use Teams. I want to use Word. I want to use PowerPoint. And we kind of talk about it in different ways when it comes to Copilot, creativity, productivity. So that's a big one for me. Hey, take a 45-minute meeting and, give me the bullet points, right? And I think in lots of different places in our society, we've acknowledged this, whether it's, I can't even think of the name of them right now, the yellow books from growing up in high school and college, Cliff Notes. There we go. We acknowledge that there is a valuable strategy for distilling information, right? The president doesn't get a 7-hour briefing every day. Someone is responsible for saying, hey, how do I boil this down to 10 minutes? How do I boil this down to the things someone in that position needs to know? Same thing here in our world. What does a manager of a team need to know? What does an individual contributor need to know? And be able to distill those things and make them eminently actionable. So when we talk about something like Outlook, right, to say, hey, go through my new mail and give me a review, give me the bullet points, flag important items to be able to say, hey, what do I need to focus on? When you're using Viva, you'll see things like suggestions. Hey, somebody talked about getting something to them tomorrow. You want me to make a task out of it. And, there's always been little hints of this stuff in the Microsoft 365 platform. Now we're really seeing it come to fruition because it is much smarter about finding those things and then making them actionable, right? Draft a response, propose a response. I often wonder what my team thinks when I use Teams suggested responses, right? Okay, thanks, right? It prompts me for that quick reply. I love to acknowledge all messages, right? And just be able to know that folks are being heard. And so we're starting to see tools using Copilot and Outlook being able to do that with your digital communication. And then what about Excel, right? To say, hey, tell me what I'm looking at here. Are sales good? Are they bad? Oftentimes, historically and now with my team, I use this sort of, what, so what, now what kind of methodology to say, great, you got a giant set of data. So what? Right? And what does it mean? And Copilot can step in and say, hey, there are these trends, there are these outliers, these are the things that are most interesting about this sometimes very, very large data set. And then you can get to that so what, right? Like, what are we going to do about it? And make that a much faster process. Being able to create charts and make these things actionable from a large data set. A lot of us work in Power BI now, but this is, we always talked about sort of the democratization of analysis tools, right? It used to be, why do I keep doing this to myself? I'm trying to pull old tools from the file cabinet, right? Data analysis, not Tableau, but even before that, used to be this extra program that was $1,000 a seat. And Microsoft has always made a big deal about democratizing this. Well, Power BI and pivot tables, there's still an approachability challenge. So what happens when Copilot can do it for you, right? So being able to say in natural language, hey, this is the kind of analysis I'm looking for. Business chat to say, hey, bring together all of the different pieces, reference documents, do summaries, bring in other parts of the environment into that chat experience. I'm sure my team gets very sick of the fact that right now, I use a snipping tool to sort of accomplish this for me. I'm taking pictures of Power BI charts or of draft emails, asking my sales director, hey, are you good with this language, going to the customer in this tough situation, right? I take a lot of snapshots. And so what Copilot does in this world of chat is really bring in your ability to reference other material, quick summaries, give people without content or context switching, the content that they're looking for to better make decisions or better respond to your question. And so I'm going to have to get used to this, right? I'm going to have to allow the system to help me and get away from my snipping tool. I do have to admit, I love my ability to circle things and draw arrows on the snip before I cut and paste it into communication, right? I'm sure everyone loves the giant red arrows I use to highlight hey, why is this blank? Or how come this number is negative? And so Copilot can do that with chat, bringing in those other relevant pieces of information. This is where my team is actually doing a lot of cool stuff with Copilot and with the large language models and AI to say, hey, give me the notes from a meeting, right? One of our salespeople is in a meeting with a customer, takes voluminous notes, and they want to debrief me. Use the tools at hand to make that something that's much more consumable for me, right? And so, draft the proposal, draft the summary, bring, a wider array of data to light when it comes to being able to being able to summarize, being able to, reference a set of OneNotes, draft a proposal, and include the product offers from our roadmap, right? Off it goes. And so here you go. Here are the notes. Here's what I heard from the customer. Here's our service offerings. We like to call it putting something on a placemat, right? How do I take those two and actually create a draft proposal? And I know we're hearing the stories of people getting in trouble of just like, hitting create on this and then send. Probably want to take an intermediary step of reviewing and revising, checking for accuracy, things like that. There have been some great stories. I think some lawyers in New York have gotten in trouble and that they just said they did this step and then they said the very next step I'm going to take is email to the judge. Probably not the best idea, right? Probably want to take a moment, maybe proofread the work and things like that. And so this is a big one for me, right? We take lots of notes, we take lots of information down from our customers, feedback from projects. How do we assimilate it? How do we go and propose the next project? How do we map what we're hearing in a conversation into the things that are actionable in our world? This is a big one for me. Not all of you have access to a marketing team like I do, perhaps, or have the ability to work with design firms and things like that I get to do on occasion. And so when I'm on my own or when I don't have those kinds of things, having something a little bit better than the suggestions in PowerPoint is kind of super awesome. Being able to say, hey, I'm going to point you at that Word document, right? I'm going to point you at that set of notes and go ahead and make a presentation out of it. I have a little bit of PowerPoint on the brain. You spend enough time at Microsoft, the whole world sort of seems like PowerPoint to you. And while that might not be perfect, oftentimes we need to take drier, more information dense kinds of content and make it visually appealing, making it something that we can go through, that's at the right level, at the right kind of style for an audience. And so this automatic design tools, based off of natural language, create a short presentation based on this proposal is super, super powerful. So Teams is a big deal in our world. We spend a lot of time thinking about innovating on top of and delivering Teams, into the world. I think it is for a lot of you as well. And so, it's something that we're using each and every day. So what does it look like, to start using Copilot and start using these features on top of Teams, right? Summarize the meeting, including decisions made and suggested next steps, right? The first step was transcription and things like that. But now, rather than a 30-minute meeting I have to watch to catch up, maybe I was out that day. Now I've got 20 minutes worth of reading that is always going to have those instances where, Michael said, what? That doesn't make sense. Or kind of, wading through the imperfect world of transcription. And so now we can say, hey, give me the summary, give me the bullet points, give me, the president's briefing in 15 minutes, in 10 minutes, in 5 minutes. Just to warn everyone, in my world, I'm going to be using this as a strategy to avoid even more meetings because oftentimes, we're there to learn, we're there to understand, make a decision at the end based on the relevant information. But we need that back and forth of a meeting to generate sort of the right information set to make a good decision on, right? Maybe I have access to all the same notes and documents and experience that the team does, but they're going to shake something out in the meeting that I wasn't going to come up with on my own. Then they can have that. They can have that experience, they can generate that content, and then we can go make a great decision off of it. Apps like payments, things on top of Teams, to really integrate into the world additional functionality. I just thought this was a neat one to include, not, specifically AI, but just another way to think about, using Teams in a creative way, in a business integrated way. And so, meeting with the customer and getting them to pay, that sounds genius to me, right? Sitting where I sit, I actually think of lots of things that we do now that's a very manual, back and forth edits on contracts and agreements and things like that. I wonder if there is an innovation that we can do in that space as well. And then I know some people have started using Microsoft Loop components, right? To say, hey, go find some content, turn it into something that we can use in Teams to collaborate on, sort of a whiteboard on steroids, something that has some persistence to it. And now you've got that loop component, that you build on in a meeting that you can use after the fact. All of that is super, super powerful. And sitting on top of Teams. I wanted to take just a couple of minutes and talk about Teams Premium. Microsoft in the last year has created this differentiation between sort of Teams Basic and Premium. If you look at the roadmap, so if you go check out the Teams roadmap, you'll see a lot of things, whether it's Teams Personal or in the Rooms, world. It's a lot of things that are going into that premium level SKU. We can argue, preferably over a beer, whether or not that's the right business strategy. From a Microsoft perspective, it's what they're going with now, right? To say, hey, we're going to build into Teams Premium, this easy, intelligent recap, chapters and timeline markers and things like that. Who's saying what, when? I know, folks in their social world or in their personal world, instantly recognize that bottom bar to say, here are the chapters, here are the noteworthy breaks and changes and things like that. Just bringing that to the business world, right? Live translation and captions, real time in Premium, so that a foreign language speaker can be integrated into a real time meeting. Again, the historic corollary is, whether it's the United Nations or whether it's the Senate and Star Wars, right? This instant translation being, the stuff of the future, or the stuff of lots of multilingual people in sound isolated booths that only the UN could kind of afford to provide. So having that functionality built into Teams Premium makes something that's accessible for all of us. And then I wanted to close with a couple of security things. One of the things that a buddy of mine is actually finishing his master's in this space, and he thinks his capstone, his final thesis before receiving his degree, hopefully, is going to be around using seams, the overflow of data, all those kinds of things. And so, having the ability for AI and those things being built into the security world to say, hey, show me what's relevant, right? Give me the things I need to know about that are top of mind. Being able to ask questions, again, natural language, to say, I need to understand the threats against my mobile devices and go ahead and remediate them. Or get that monthly security summary. I love this one because one of the things we talked about, PowerPoint and audiences and things like that. If you're the security expert on your team, and understand the detail. Someone like me, though, I want the presentation that is, the security equivalent of red light, green light kinds of stuff, right? Hey, what do I need to know? What's need to know good, what's need to know bad, what's need to know yellow, or somewhere in between, in a way that's consumable. And so the ability to take, a monthly security report, a monthly security posture, and build something that is incredibly relevant and incredibly appropriate for the audience that you're working with. And so, yeah, so Microsoft has really started to build these things into the platform. They've turned it from something separate to being, a feature in the platform. Like I said, that journey's gone really, really fast. With the acquisition or the partnership with the OpenAI guys. Bringing it into Bing, bringing it into Teams, bringing it into Word. Versus just like 6 months ago it was, oh, I have to sign up for this totally separate thing, deal with public information versus now having it a part of your platform that's, behind the wall in your business, access to the same documents you have access to, and the ability to really drive your business forward, faster. So a little bit about us. We'd love to help you on this journey. Like I said, in the Viva and the OKR series we just came off of, and now again today, we're using this stuff each and every day. I challenge my team to use these tools to keep us on task, to keep us aligned with the organizational mission. And we've got lots of experience doing that with customers around the United States and around the globe. Hundreds of customers, hundreds of deployments, lots of great traction now with the Microsoft community as a managed partner, as a cloud partner program solutions partner, fast track, meeting room partner program, lots of different things that we're engaged with. And so one of the things that allows us to do is bring additional resources and opportunities to the table, whether it's funding opportunities, whether it's early preview opportunities, Microsoft co-investment, things like that. That connection, that time we spend curating our relationship with Microsoft pays off for our customers. And so, if you're an existing customer, connect with your account exec with any questions you might have, any opportunities we have to get in there with you and see what we can do to help, right? We solve, we don't sell. If you're not a current customer, if you want to just reach out and get to know us a little bit better as we get to know you, reach out to sales, reach out to me directly, sthompson@apexdigital.com. Happy to engage, provide slides, provide pointers. Our website can be a tremendous resource in this space as well. And so I just encourage all of you to reach out here on LinkedIn as well. I'm pretty open and pretty engaged with LinkedIn. I know there's a lot of folks that, check LinkedIn messages and profiles once a month. If you saw my inbox right now, you'd understand that I can't let that happen. My brain would explode. If I get over 10 or 20 messages in an inbox, that means I'm behind and people are waiting on me. I sort of feel the same way about LinkedIn. And so please reach out, get engaged with me and the great team here at Apex. And we'd love to help you on this journey. So thank you. Thanks as always for joining us for Fridays with Steve, whether you're watching us live or watching us on recording. And we'll see you again next time.